Hi folks, welcome back to Karen Vibes. How you all doing? You all having a pleasant Sunday afternoon, I hope. How you all doing? Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I was actually outside. Let me tell you guys what I planted today. So I planted two planting suckers. A friend of mine gave me two planting suckers which I planted a while ago. I planted some string beans. I planted some, what was the other one? Cucumber. So I planted string bean, cucumbers, and the two planting suckers. I planted some callaloo, and what was that thing that I planted up at the top? Planted something else up at the top. There's something else that I planted. I can't remember. It's not it's a plant though, not to eat, not a plant that can be eaten. It's another, it's like a flower. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, if I remember before my reading is up, I will tell you guys. So, no. And apart from that, I planted East Indian mango. So I planted plantain. I planted the East Indian mango. I planted the string bean, the cucumbers, did some callaloo, and I planted a bit of tomato as well. So, yep. You know, it's a really rewarding feeling when you plant stuff and then when you reap it. You know, it's a lovely feeling, I must say. Really lovely feeling. Anyway, without further ado, let us get into it. So, we're at the end of our book. So, today will be the end of this book. And it has been a long time coming. I think I took a long... Yes, this book really took me a long time to read. I guess because there were gaps in between and stuff. But I guess I said better late than never. So, the name of the book is Minty Alley. And it is written by C.L.R. James. And it's narrated by me, Karen Weir. Welcome guys. Welcome to Karen Vibes. So, it's reading for the mature audience. Welcome everyone. Grab your drink, grab your tea. Make sure it's cave spicy teas. And just sit back and enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we had finished reading, we had stopped at the end of chapter 33, where Mr. Haynes was asking Mrs. Rose about Phyllis. Why was it that Phyllis had to leave? And Miss Rose was saying, oh, we don't keep any secrets from you. And at the same time, while she was saying that, she was hesitating. So we had stopped there. So we're going to pick up from where we had stopped. So that was the end of chapter 33. No, hold on a bit, guys. Hold on, folks. I'm so sorry. No, that's not the end of chapter 33. We had stopped there, but it's not the end of chapter 33 because I was reading it in parts. So when I stopped, I had said that this was part 3, but it wasn't part 3 of chapter 33. It would have been part 2. So we had just stopped there. Alright, where Mrs. Rose had hesitated. Alright, so we're going to read now the other part of chapter 33. Part 3. My apologies, folks. You know, you're getting up in age sometimes. Anyway. Laugh out loud. Anyway. Miss Atwell came to the rescue. Come on, my Rose. Tell Mr. Haynes. He is an intelligent man. He knows all about these things. Thus encouraged, Mrs. Rose explained. You see, Mr. Haynes, I have someone who guides me in my life. He is a man who can do things, and I can tell you he has helped me a lot. And when I went to him once, he told me that my blood and coolie blood don't take. Oh Lord, what kind of I said people can have some myth, you see, man. Anyhow, let's read along. He say that's why Mr. Ben treat me as he did. He say I have nothing to expect from coolie blood but treachery. I asked him how me and Mr. Ben keep together so long. He say it's because Mr. Ben was only half coolie and he warned me against having any coolies around me. He say so as long as I have things bound to go bad. I tell him all that Phyllis was to me and all she do for me. And if I send her away, that would be ingratitude. He stopped a little. He stopped a little bit and he say, well, God wouldn't like you to show ingratitude. He works by God, Mr. Haynes. Some work by the devil, but some by God, and he worked by God. So, he tell me that not to tell her to go, but to treat her in a way that she would want to leave. Lord have mercy. This is what they call Tory come to bump. So, that is why you see Phyllis not with me today. You see how it is, Mr. Haynes? She added anxiously. Quiet, said Mr. Haynes. You see, I didn't know all this, said Miss Atwell, filling an awkward pause. God lets us know his will through his chosen, Mr. Haynes. And where they shows us the way, we has to follow. Quite so, Miss Atwell, said Haynes. What was the use of arguing? Haynes said to himself. Phyllis was gone. Nothing he said could bring her back. Better to leave it there. But acting on sudden impulse, he changed his mind. But Mrs. Rose, tell me something. Do you really believe that Phyllis would harm you? Mr. Haynes, she replied at once, I don't know what to say. At the time I believe him, until poor Phyllis leave. But sometimes I feel sorry and wish I hadn't sent her away. But then again, the man told me so many things that come out true. I'm confused. You don't believe in people like those, Mr. Haynes, do you? Not at all. In fact, Mrs. Rose, to tell you the truth, I believe they are a set of impostors. You had to pay him a lot of money, I suppose. $5 every visit. You shouldn't throw that money away, Mrs. Rose. You want it. You believe in God. You pray to God. Well, trust in God. But these fellows are after your money and nothing else. I believes you. You are right, Mr. Haynes, said Miss Atwell. Mrs. Rose, if I was you, I'd send to call her first thing tomorrow. $5? But it's only now I think of it, Mr. Haynes. I has to work 2 whole weeks for $5, and that man give you a lot of bad advice and make that money make that money so easy. Speak to Phyllis in the morning, Mrs. Rose, said Haynes, and keep your $5. You will want it to help Mr. Ben get better. Good night. Good night, Mr. Haynes, they said almost together. God will bless you, Mr. Haynes, said Mrs. Rose. That he will, said Mrs. Atwell. As Haynes searched in his pocket for matches, he realized that he would have to postpone indefinitely his plans for leaving number 2. I am going to die in this damn house, he said, and threw himself into the bed. It was a long time before he dropped off to sleep. So, the prophecies had been fulfilled, and Mrs. Rose was taking Ben back. Maisie, poor Maisie, how she would have raged and sneered, the things she would have said. Never since, never since she had gone had he missed her so much. What a day the following Sunday would have been, but she was gone and gone for good. Next morning he rose early. He had not slept well, and went and stood in the yard near the corner of Victoria Street and the alley. A woman who lived in the alley said good morning and passed him. Then she turned back. I suppose you know about Mr. Ben, Mr. Haynes? Yes, said Haynes. He's in the hospital. No, she said. I don't mean that. He died this morning about 3:30. I met a wardsman from the hospital and he tell me that one in there, she pointed to number 2, wouldn't be sorry for him, eh? He do that poor woman enough. Oh my goodness, this is so sad. As much as I did not like Ben's character, Mr. Ben's character, Ben has died. He has passed away. So that is the end of chapter 33. So I'm going to pause here and then come back shortly.